Good morning. This is Cathy Hogan. I'm Director of Women's Ministry at Maranatha Bible Church, and I'm here with our latest morning devotion. I would like to share with you a lesson that God taught me about trust and thermometers, and I would also like to let you know what I've been praying for you during these last few weeks. It's found in Colossians chapter 1. So when this started about 4 weeks ago, I really was miserable with the bronchitis. I ended up in a clinic twice with 4 prescriptions and an inhaler. And as I started mostly feeling better, I was left with a cough, a sore throat, and I was tired. And this thought crossed my mind. What if I picked up that virus when I was in the clinic? And when I had that thought, here's how I reassured myself. I picked up my thermometer and I took my temperature, and I would look at the result and I thought, oh good, it's below normal. And I would set it back down until the next time I coughed or felt my sore throat and started having that same what if thought. And I would pick it back up again, over and over again. And it's not that we can't take our temperature, but for me, it was a crutch that was helping me with my what if. But the thing is, it really wasn't helping me. I realized I needed to turn this over to the Lord. So I prayed and I said, Lord, this thermometer, it's not going to help me. You are. You are my rock. You are my fortress. And whether I get sick or I don't, it's in your hands. And all the other what ifs that are rumbling around my brain, I give those to you too. And I have to say, I felt such freedom in surrendering my what ifs. I walked around in joy. I felt the world was lifted off of my shoulders. Not because I had a guarantee of an answer, but because I was trusting in the one who had the answer. And so, because I've really been blessed by the power of prayer, I wanted to let you know how I've been praying for you. Colossians 1, Paul writes, and so, from the day we heard, we have not ceased to pray for you, asking that you may be filled with the knowledge of his will in all spiritual wisdom and understanding. So my first prayer from this is that we would be filled with the knowledge of his will. Filled. I love that. We're not really on autopilot right now. This is something new. And God will fill us with the knowledge of his will, with all spiritual wisdom and understanding. He's going to show us what this season looks like for us. And this is the result. So that we can walk in a manner worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing to him, bearing fruit in every good work and increasing in the knowledge of God. What a list. We can continue to bear fruit even though we're isolated. And like me, you have probably heard so many beautiful stories of how people have been connecting with their families, with their neighbors, with friends, with coworkers, all while isolating. It's been beautiful. So God has a fruitful walk for each one of us, and he will fill us with it. And while we go through this season, we are going to know him more. We're going to increase in the knowledge of God. You know, the second thing I'm praying is that we not only need wisdom for how to live, but we need strength to carry it out. And Paul continues in verse 11, being strengthened with all power according to his glorious might for all endurance and patience with joy. God will strengthen us with his power. And he doesn't just give us the strength to endure. He gives us the strength to do it with patience and with joy. Yes, we triumph in him. And when we find then that our strength is limited, when it's run out, we can turn to him. So when you feel that this season is long, that it's hard, when you feel discouraged or frustrated, it's just a reminder to turn to the Lord for his strength. His strength. He will help us to endure with patience and joy. And third, Paul says in verse 12, giving thanks to the Father who has qualified you to share in the inheritance of the saints in light. He has delivered us from the domain of darkness and transferred us to the kingdom of his beloved Son, in whom we have redemption, the forgiveness of sins. So no matter what is going on, we can still give thanks to the Father because he's qualified us. And being qualified, it feels good. We have some friends that are waiting for their qualifications to teach and to nurse. And I remember for myself, when I got my qualifications to be a CPA, that didn't even turn out to be a fit for me. But when I opened that envelope and I saw my score and I saw I'm qualified, no more studying, I started jumping up and down and screaming with joy over a temporary earthly qualification. And this qualification that Paul is talking about is one where we're sharing in the inheritance of the saints. It's for eternity. And not only that, we didn't have to qualify ourselves. We didn't have to study. It's not based on what we did. I think most of us would agree that our qualifications fall short. We might have our own list of why we fall short, but we know that we don't have the qualifications. But we can rejoice because God has them for us, and he gave them through his beloved Son, in whom we have redemption, the forgiveness of sins. We can trade our lack of qualifications for his qualifications. And if you're listening to this and you haven't done that and you're ready to do that, you can do that today. And if you want, I encourage you to reach out to a trusted friend who can help you along the way. My application for us is that we would all pray this prayer for one another, that we would have the wisdom, that we would have the strength, that we would remember we're qualified and it's beautiful. I've been memorizing these verses with a friend because I want them with me 24/7. Let's pray it together. So today, ask God for his will, rely on his strength, and give thanks for his qualifications. I love you, friends. Have a good day.